Well, hello there. It's a very special Tuesday edition that you're forced to watch of US Fan TV Live. We normally do these Monday nights and Wednesday nights, but because yesterday was the day after Christmas and all that, we decided not to do one. And today we're doing one because
US Fan TV Live. We normally do these
my
Monday
friend
nights
Bob
and
Bradley
Wednesday
was
nights,
fired.
but
Uh-oh, what's that?
yesterday was
Is that on my end or your end?
That is my end.
There
I
we
thought
go.
I had my volume down. I did not. One of those awesome iPhone tricks where it tells you have turned the things down, but it turns out, oh, you're just turning down the ringer.
It's also been a bad day, not only for Bob Bradley, but for our old friend Samir Nasri. Have you seen this? Like in the last few hours?
This is an interesting one.
Yes.
Good old Samir, the asshole Nasri. Couldn't happen to a worse person.
Yeah, apparently it looks like a jaded ex-girlfriend got a hold of his Twitter account and started talking about a doctor or nurse or somebody, grip doctors, and all sorts of extracurricular stuff that was going on after his treatments. He was getting some special treatments after his medical treatments.
Doctor, I hardly even know her.
And I can't stand Samir Nasri, so this is enjoyable for me. But one dude I like is Bob Bradley. And everybody knows by now Bob's been fired as manager at Swansea. Sacked, as they say, across the pond.
As they say, behold, Swansea supporters, your owners have brought you tidings of great joy. For unto you was fired this day in the city of Swansea a manager, which was Bob Bradley. I had to steal a little happy Christmas there from our friends in Wales. Siru, or whatever the hell you say, I can't remember, from my days growing up in a town of Welsh heritage. Yeah, our good old friend Bob has gotten the sack, gotten the old.
Yes,
there was not a toy in his sack his Christmas sack this holiday season. Enough, I guess, with the poor jokes. I mean, honestly, to jump ahead, I guess, from your comments there for a second, frankly, I thought as the goals were piling up against West Ham yesterday, it didn't look good. Just the team on the whole, he's either lost the squad or he's not learning from his mistakes, or something in between. Now, I still think, I mean, we'll get into our thoughts on it, but the defense is just a shambles, and it hasn't improved in all his time there. They're playing better offensively. They're passing the ball better. They're scoring, but the defense is, as our friends across the ponds would say, shambolic.
It's really, really, really bad to watch, and that was a bit like watching Klinsmann after the Costa Rica match. You just kind of felt like, okay. Now, we both have said, and I stand by this, I feel like it's kind of ridiculous to fire a manager after 85 days when you haven't even given him a transfer window to bring in his own guys. I feel like I remember Fulham did this a few years ago, and they just kept pissing through managers one season, and now they're not in the Premier League, and they haven't even sniffed it since they did this. So I could see this happening to Swansea too. You at some point you have to stick with someone. But like I told you today, if you knew you were going to fire Bob Bradley and the atmosphere was so toxic around this thing that you kind of had to, at least they probably felt like they did, you had to do it today, because you've got to give whoever, Ryan Giggs, Mr. Run Harder, or Alan Pardew, or whoever's going to get it, you have to give them the full transfer window and the rest of the season to try to rescue this thing. You cannot keep switching managers at this point. And I'd like to think that we have the same opinion of what should happen, whether this is Bob Bradley or some other guy who wasn't the first American to manage in the Premier League. But one thing that I think made this a little bit different, and I wrote about this today on a website you should visit every day called USfanTV.com.
The best mediocre website on the internet.
Bob, if he got the job because he was an American, and certainly with American owners that played a role, he was also fired early because he was an American, because the pressure was greater around it, because they felt like he got the job unfairly, and they felt like because the Jack Army I'm talking about here, the Swansea supporters, not fans, supporters, they felt like he didn't know what he was doing because he was a Yank. And we saw tons of this on Twitter directed at us and other writers who were writing about Bob Bradley. They just assume the guy knows absolutely nothing because he talks like we do.
We had a coach who felt the same way just about a month ago.
Funny you should say that. I would love it if they got stuck with that dude. Because who are they to question a German? After all, he laid the groundwork for the world champions in 2014. Who would they be to
someone
question a
right
German?
here, yeah. Oh, hello.
You want lineup tinkering? You want guys playing way out of position? You can have it, guys. You can have it, Swansea, and I hope that you get it.
Talk about never getting a defense straight. Yeah, I just think at a certain point, if you do this kind of manager carousel thing, you get the reputation that you're not going to give anyone a chance, and you either need a huge ego, you need like a Jose Mourinho ego to come in who's willing to like kind of, who doesn't feel it anyway, or you need to overpay, and the super ego is going to demand overpaying anyway, and I think it just costs you more in the long run. At this point, I think the season was, well, I guess you could still rescue it at least to finish, say, bottom half, maybe 15th or something in the league. January table or January transfer window. I mean, so there's still a chance of doing something. I mean, certainly it's not completely lost, but it does seem at this point the season's pretty well lost. And to then, be on your third manager of the year, of the season, really, even not even counting calendar years of the season. It just, what happens come April if the team hasn't improved again? Do you fire someone again? Do you let this person finish out the season? Do you fire them, the moment the season ends in May? Do you give them a second transfer window? It just seems that there's no way to handle this that is fair to anyone. And I'm not even defending Bob as an American. I mean, to me, I agree that yesterday's game was probably, if it wasn't the final nail in the coffin, it kind of should have been. It was clear what the team's deficiencies were, and when you weren't addressing them, something had to change. And the team clearly was lost or doesn't care anymore. The players just seem to be out of it. So, what are you going to do? In that regard, what are you going to do regardless? Excuse me. I'm changing to the teams from the team's point of view. What are you going to do regardless? You've now got a different coach, a different manager who's going to select some different players, but are they really going to be better? I mean, I would say the team's no different now than they were at the start of the year, at least by quality. The results are, I guess at this point, a little worse for Bob because he got an extra game, I think. But realistically, it's kind of a wash both ways. One team was better defensively but poor offensively. One team was better offensively but poor defensively. You've got to find the mix of both. And right now their defense isn't good enough to do that. Now, I do think it's Bob's fault for not addressing that. And in that regard, I do think yesterday's game was truly, I think, a mistake on his part because he didn't do anything to address that, to make the defense better. Either put a fifth man back there, bring two defensive midfielders in, or something that would make this team stronger defensively. So that's certainly a knock on him. But either way, to me, yeah, you can't just keep changing managers all season long because that's not going to create a sound team dynamic either. And that's still what they're still lacking cohesiveness.
I mean, they've gotten rid of a lot of the guys that made them a pretty good team a year or two ago. And it's, I was looking through their roster. I'm like, where did all those dudes go? So I don't know how you reasonably expect Guidolin or Bradley or whoever to come in and be good when you're not providing them the tools to be good. And statistically, I mean, it was Guidolin had 4 points after 8 games, I believe. Bradley had 8 points after 11 games. So a wash. I mean, for that small of sample size, it's pretty much a wash. And as far, like you said, exactly, as far as, their goals were up, but their goals conceded were up as well because Bob just wanted to go for it, and it wasn't working because they have such a terrible defense. They can't go for it. So, you know, I hate to see him go. I still think in some ways it was unfair, but it had that feeling after yesterday's game that like this can't put him out of its misery. Like this can't go on anymore. But yeah, it's I saw today the Stabæk sporting director, his old club in Norway, wants Bob to be the national team manager for Norway. So something I think he'd be pretty good at. They're kind of far out of it right now as far as qualifying goes, but they're not all the way out of it. So maybe Bob could rescue that. I don't know what he wants to do next, but it's just kind of disappointing that it's over that quickly. Like it's, you know, I thought we were going to get to see the season, and then if he screwed it up, then so be it. But you know, there's so much money at stake here. One of the things that's great about European soccer that we don't have here in America, the relegation battle, if this was America, they just sit back and collect their draft pick at the end of the season. But it's not. You're going to lose a ton of money and drop down a league. So there's a lot at stake here, and I understand that. But you know, to have concerns about Bob about what they did on the field, I think is totally legit. To be concerned about whether he's saying PKs in road games or, you know, penalties in away fixtures, I think is idiotic. And I wish he would have had more of a shot. I don't think we're done with Bob Bradley, though. I'm sure he'll pop up somewhere.
Yeah, it's certainly not the end of his career. I mean, at 50, whatever he is, 5 or something, he's not. It's by no means a death sentence. It's a death sentence probably at this level, at least for
now, yeah.
Probably for the rest of his career, because I would guess that by the time he's gone somewhere else, kind of proven himself. I mean, who knows? It can be such a revolving door. As you know, Swansea alone shows, it can be such a revolving door. The stuff about, you know, his word choice or whatever, it was just an easy target for someone who wasn't doing well. You know, as we said, if he'd been playing well, if the team had been playing well, and you know, he was winning, they would have laughed it off and thought, oh, how cute, and been waving American flags like Fulham used to do when Brian McBride scored. It's really just a matter of people were upset, and it gave him something else to pick on him about. And it was sort of like gauging what he was wearing. You know, these things only come into play when there's nothing better to talk about, or you know, when you want something else to pick on someone for. It wouldn't matter otherwise. He'll catch on somewhere else. I mean, really, it was a bad situation. It's a bad situation for the next coach. You know, I don't think they're in a position right now to succeed under anyone, even if they have a stellar window. And I have to question who they're going to get to come in, because I don't know, one, who's available, but two, who are they willing to pay? Because they've shown so far that they're pretty much selling all their best players. That's kind of how they got into this mess. This isn't the same team as it was with Boney or Jonjo Shelvey. This is a crappy, terrible, poor quality team, and particularly in the back. And they just, the few players they have of true technical skill are drowned out by the fact that the team just isn't good, and the team knows it. And so I don't think the players are truly trying, because in the end, they know it doesn't matter. And I don't think that a manager can simply fix that. I think that the club itself has to invest enough in the team that the players start believing in themselves. And I kind of question whether this season isn't already lost for them, just based on the fact that the players seem to have decided it's done.
Yeah,
you know, the last few games, they don't appear to care or truly be, you know, trying to save their own jobs, or, you know, save face, or just earn a bit of pride, show a bit of pride in the results, much less, you know, save a manager's job or anything. So I don't know what to make of the rest of the team, but the defense is clearly not of a caliber that it should be in the league it is. And Will one transfer window be enough to solve that? I don't know. Certainly it could, but it's the January window, which means it's going to be more expensive, and is a bottom tier team that appears to be on its way down truly going to shell out the kind of money that it takes to overcome that? I doubt it.
I think they might get lucky if they got a loan deal on a decent young defender from one of the big clubs, more than actually going out and buying somebody.
Deuce.
Deuce, man, I hope that's not an omen for next year. Shit, I hope he's not dead. It's 2016.
Who knows when he comes back? Yeah, it's 2016.
But yeah, Swansea's only 4 from safety right now. They're 19th, but they're 4 from safety, so it's not like that's not doable. But there's an old thing that Doug Plank, one of the old Chicago Bears, used to say about Mike Ditka is there's different kinds of coaches. There's players coaches. He called people like Ditka a chemo coach, where he comes in and just absolutely blows up everything. And either they sink or swim because of his his personality, and maybe that's what they need right now. But there's maybe that'll do it. There's so many guys. This is what's frustrating to me. There's so many guys, English and other nationalities, that get shoveled around the Premier League all the time that I think are kind of crap managers. Alan Pardew is one of them. He seems like a cool dude. I remember NBC did a documentary on Crystal Palace last year. He seemed like a cool dude, but he's never struck me as a good manager. And there's a lot of these guys. I actually thought Claudio Ranieri was one of these guys until last season, but I guess he proved everybody wrong there. But there's so many guys that get shoveled around and shuffled around, and to see Bob get shoved out the door so fast and not even really get a chance to prove what he could do at all is disappointing, because I know that there's other guys who are going to get a chance immediately. Like they're going to fail time and time and time again, and they're going to get a chance immediately. And part of that has to do with their nationality. People just don't trust the American, which, fine. I guess we were behind for a long time in this sport. So maybe we've got to prove ourselves a little more, and I'm sure we will. And I do think that it's kind of funny that a team that might replace Swansea in the Premier League next season, Huddersfield Town, is managed by a dude who played his international soccer with the United States of America, David Wagner, who apparently turned down the job in Germany. And I would love to see him managing in the Premier League next season. It's kind of a big FU to everybody who doesn't believe somebody with American roots can do this. So we'll see. I don't know. It's just
I don't take all that stuff to heart, because in the end, it's sort of like Bob's comments about PKs. It's just something that people are harping on because it was a convenient thing to complain about in the face of what they were already unhappy about. And if the team was winning, they wouldn't have said any of those things. So whatever. Hate him because he's American. Put him down because of what he says. Think we're stupid because we're American. It's fine. Whatever. It doesn't matter to me. In the end, that's not what's going to determine I don't know, the success of any of the people you're talking about. So fine.
I just wish we could take back Batman now, not give it to Christian Bale anymore. Although he did a great job. You know what, Wales? You can't have Batman if we can't have a Premier League job. Should we talk about Darlington Nagbe?
I think we kind of need to. This guy just seems to talk about a bad 2016 for him as well. He just can't seem to catch a break, or I don't know, or maybe it's him. maybe we need to look at him a little closer. I don't know, because they're certainly his issues with Jurgen Klinsmann. I mean, we could say some of it was Klinsmann. We could also say some of it was probably him. It's hard to say. This, I don't know.
Yeah, so it depends on who you're reading, but either the Timbers, which is to say MLS, has shut down the move, or Celtic has shut down the move of Nagbe going to Celtic. Now, as I said to you before we started this broadcast, it's the end of December, so maybe this is just part of the negotiation, and there's a decent chance this will actually pop up again toward the end of the window. But obviously, both sides are telling their favorite reporters what they want everyone to believe. So believe what you want, but currently the deal is not happening. That we do know for sure. So obviously these things can change. And like we talked about, I believe we talked about this earlier. I've written about it at the very least. It's kind of a weird deal because I feel like at the top end, Celtic is a better location for him because he would get a few Champions League matches before they get bounced. He gets the Old Firm derby with Rangers. At the bottom end, I'm not sure those games are any better than MLS. A Scottish Cup game or a Scottish game against some crap team at the bottom of the table. I don't know that that's any better than Timbers Sporting KC or something like that. So, but I think ultimately it's worth the move and it's worth the try. And for a guy who the knock on him is that he's kind of mentally weak, I think Scotland will either take that out of him or shine a big light on it, and he'll have to come back because that's a rough league.
It'll prove people right or it'll prove people wrong in that one. That's for sure. So in that regard, it would be nice. I don't think it's a good sign when both teams are speaking out on the deal. Usually the teams, in most cases, the teams are quiet during a deal. They won't really comment one way or the other. And then to say that, no, we've killed it, that seems, that sounds more, that makes it sound more unlikely to me, at least to see it to completion. Now, as you said, it could just be a negotiating tactic. In the end, when do you hear both teams go, no, we're the ones who killed it. No, we're the ones. who, other than maybe some Italian teams or some Spanish teams, and that's just because of the corrupt media that's really just trying to boost the team. Who battles these things out in the media anywhere?
Yeah, you'll hear the agent trying to work a deal, and they'll float false locations and that sort of thing. But this did seem unusual. But I mean, the whole negotiating with a league instead of a team is unusual too. That do when they're trying to buy a player from MLS. So I don't know if he'll be going there. And I should point out, I kind of think the Michael Bradley to Swansea loan might be done too.
Yeah, I would say that one is unlikely now. I think we can put a big black X over that one now. I don't think that's going to happen.
But yeah, the Nagbe thing, I would not say it's completely dead yet. It might be on life support, but I don't think it's dead yet. So
watch him go to Rangers now.
We've had more Americans there do well than Celtic.
True.
So
true. That's not my preference, but
no, but that would be interesting at the very least. Did you see? So I watched. I get home, from the Christmas festivities. I get home and I flip on my Telemundo or Univision or whichever one it is, and I'm watching the end of Tigres and Club America for the Mexican title. We had talked about which Mexican team should we support, so I decided I'm gonna tune in. So it was just to set the scene. It was tied after the first leg because it's a 2-leg final. It's tied after the first leg. It's tied after 90 minutes of the second leg, so they go to extra time. And then, holy shit, it all went down. So initially, America goes ahead on a goal scored by a dude wearing a jersey in the 280s. They have 3-digit jerseys. I didn't even realize this. I don't think I knew this. 282, I think, was his number. So I'm like,
I think I've only seen triple digits in the Mexican League, but I've never seen a 282 before.
So 282, number 282, I can't remember his name, scores for America. Then there's some fisticuffs and dudes get sent off, including our own Ventura Alvarado, who I believe was playing in his final game for America. I think he's going to go on loan.
Yeah.
Then, it being Christmas Day, what's more fitting than a dude for Tigres with the name Jesus? Jesus scores a goal to equalize at the very end of extra time. So we go to penalties.
Saves.
Jesus does save. We go to penalties, and Tigres wins it 3-0. 3-0. Like 3 in, 3 out, over, done. Tigres wins it. I will say, some of our commenters said Tigres is a pretty fun team to watch. They are. They're a pretty fun and exciting team. So these are two teams that I was considering adopting as my team, along with Cholos. And this game, it was like, when you're watching, like, you feel kind of guilty that you're watching something like a 2 a.m. Burger King fight on YouTube. I kind of got the feeling that I was doing something wrong by watching this match. Like, I kind of felt like, oh my God, this is not something
that you were cheating on your real teams.
Yeah. Plus there was soccer. It had like the added benefit of my favorite sport with, that kind of bum fight edge that you look for. So I don't know who my team is going to be, but I know I'm going to watch more Liga MX because that shit was exciting.
What more could you ask for, really? I mean, yeah, I used to when back in the days when I was Sin Cable, I used to watch more Liga MX because I think it's Telemundo local. I don't remember. Whatever I get over the air here, I don't know. I don't watch it if it's not on anymore. Maybe it changed to whichever one I don't get now. So I don't see it as much. But yeah, no, it used to be fun. It just wasn't. It was sort of like MLS, where it's not the quality that you're going to watch elsewhere. And it's sort of like the Euro snobs complaint of MLS, where it's like, oh, well, it's not as good as watching the Champions League.
You know what? Some of those early season Champions League games are kind of boring, and this was like, the intensity level was like, I could never quite,
like the MLS Cup should have been.
Yeah, and like every US-Mexico matches, the intensity level is so high there because the teams hate one another, and just the rivalry is there. Well, maybe it's just that Mexico's there, because this game had it too. Like, it was another level. It wasn't, as far as quality goes, it wasn't as good as some of the European leagues that you'd see. But as far as excitement goes, yeah, it was pretty incredible. I will watch more. I could become a fan. I'm not picking my team yet, but I'm going to definitely want to see more of this. I still don't know if I like the 2 champions per season thing, though.
Yeah,
it waters it down.
It's, on the one hand, I get it as a fan. It seems like a fun way for you to have more things to root for. On the other, it also seems like it's sort of like the Gold Cup every 2 years. It just seems like it's unnecessary and a way of milking more money out of things when it's not necessary.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about tonight? Is there anything else on your mind?
We have hit it all. The only thing perhaps not important enough to you, but Carrie Fisher has now, all but I think one of the people to play Darth Vader has now outlived Carrie Fisher. So, like, the oldest guy to play Darth Vader, I think, died already, but he was like 89. James Earl Jones is 85. He's still alive, but there goes Carrie Fisher. Since we discussed Alan
Thicke.
Thank you. Yes, Alan Thicke. I figured we should also note Princess Leia.
I'm not a Star Wars fan, but Carrie Fisher was pretty funny on a show called Catastrophe on Amazon that I enjoy. Set in London, an American dude from Boston goes and knocks up an Irish chick in London, and they decide to have a little family together, and hilarity ensues. Carrie Fisher was
hilarity.
Carrie Fisher was the crazy American mom of the dude who she was eBay obsessed. So it's a funny show. And it's actually coming back for as they say, a 3rd and 4th series, which is a season. And a season in British TV is only like 6 episodes long. So it's kind of like Ricky Gervais's original Office was only like 12 or 14 episodes or something. And then the American version, we did it like we do, with like 200 episodes or something like that. So
took 40 years to complete.
Yes. But Jim and Pam finally got together. All right. We are probably not doing one of these tomorrow night unless Bruce Arena gets fired or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Short of something major, I think I think you guys can enjoy a holiday break from us. I am still entrenched in holiday festivities, so I will most likely be unavailable. So yeah, you guys can enjoy a more than mediocre holiday season, and we will probably see you, I assume, in the new year. 2017, here we come. We shall survive 2016.
We hope.
Short of the apocalypse.
Wow, this could be very well the last USfanTV live of 2016. I'm kind of sad.
We do have a statement going up about it in the morning, so please watch that. Or
you're gonna put that thing up?
Check the website for that.
I have read it and I enjoyed it, so you should read it too.
Why, thank you.
The website. Tell everyone what the website is. You do the rundown tonight.
The website is USfanTV.com. Even you can find us on Twitter at USfanTV, on YouTube USfanTV, and on Instagram USfanTV. Funny enough, all of those we're quite original on our titles, so be sure to check those out, and we will see you soon.
We also do Facebook every once in a while.
I'm an idiot.
We should maybe talk about Facebook.
There's also the Book of Face.
We should care more about Facebook. Do you think we should?
Probably.
I just don't like Facebook. You know what I hate is Snapchat. I'm too old to understand Snapchat. I just know like the.
No one's squat on that because I've tried. I can't figure out how to get into it.
I don't understand how putting like dog ears and a nose on my face has anything to do with what we do, but maybe it would actually make it better. I'm not sure. So, we don't.
I do have some ideas. I've considered ideas of how we could use it, but I can't figure out how to get a USfanTV account. I can't figure out how to get out of the stupid account that I opened just so I can find out for my kids to play with it.
And we're not on Grindr either, so sorry guys. Yeah, that's it for us.
Thank you.
That's it for us. We will be back at some point next week, probably Monday, maybe Monday. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll be back sooner if something actually happens and we want to talk to you about it, just like we did tonight with Bob Bradley's firing at Swansea. I think that's all we wanted to say about that. So thanks for watching. Bye, everybody. Thanks for supporting us this entire 2016. We hope to have more of this terrible stuff for you in 2017. Yeah, we'll see ya. Bye, guys.
Stay classy, San Diego.